Hi there, I'm Mike Chapple, and in this CertMike Explains video, we're going to talk about a really crucial service that you use every day, the Domain Name System, or DNS. Now, you probably know that computers use IP addresses to communicate over the network, but those addresses are very difficult for people to remember. Just imagine if you had to memorize the IP address of every website that you need to access. The Domain Name Service, or DNS, allows people to use easily recognizable names in place of IP addresses. DNS servers translate the names that you're more familiar with, such as www.certmike.com, into the IP addresses that computers use to communicate, such as 34.149.36.179. DNS works as a network service that operates over TCP and UDP ports 53. Every time you connect to a network, that network uses a service called DHCP to provide your computer with the IP address of a local DNS server that it can use to look up IP addresses. Then, whenever you type in the domain name of a website into your browser, your computer sends a request to the local DNS server asking it for the IP address associated with that name. If the server knows the answer to your question, it simply responds to the request with the IP address, and your browser can then go ahead and connect to the website using that address. If the local DNS server doesn't know the answer to your question, it contacts other DNS servers to determine the correct answer and then responds to you. DNS is a hierarchical system, and organizations who own domain names designate DNS servers that are the authoritative sources of information about their domain names. When a local DNS server needs to perform a lookup, it asks a series of questions that eventually lead it to the definitive answer from the DNS server that's authoritative for a domain. I want to show you a hands-on demo of DNS, but before we do that, I want to take a moment to invite you to visit my website at CertMike.com. On that site, the plans tie together the content that you'll find in study guides, video courses, and practice tests to help you prepare for your next certification exam and pass that test on the first try. Also, if you're enjoying this CertMike Explains video, please take a moment to click the like button below to help other people discover it. If you subscribe to my channel, you'll be among the first to see my new videos as they come out. Alright, with that in mind, let's go ahead and take a look at a DNS query in action. Most of the time, DNS queries happen behind the scenes and computer users never see them. However, we can use a tool called Dig to perform DNS lookups manually. Here I am in a terminal window on a Mac. I'm going to go ahead and type in dig www.certmike.com. This is going to manually perform a DNS query for certmike.com against my default DNS server. So we see here a few things. First, we see the identity of the DNS server. It's located at 192.168.0.1. That's the router on my local network. We can also see the question that was asked. My computer asked the DNS server, what's the IP address for www.certmike.com? And then in the answer section, we see the IP addresses associated with the certmike.com website. One note before we wrap up. Some content filtering tools alter DNS lookups to prevent users from accessing undesirable websites. Those work by simply providing incorrect answers to DNS queries for unwanted sites. If you use that approach, you need to make sure that you also block outbound DNS requests to other web servers. The Google Public DNS Server and other public DNS servers are out there and available for anyone to use. If I was on a network that used DNS-based content filtering but didn't block outbound DNS, I could simply change the DNS server in my network settings and avoid the filtering entirely. I hope this video helped you better understand DNS. If it did, please click the like button below and subscribe to my channel for more IT certification content.